Welcome to the Firebelly Social Show. We're focused on talking to food and beverage brands that are on a mission to make the world better.
Hey, everybody. Duncan here with another episode of the Firebelly Social Show. Thanks for joining us as a special show where we zero in on founders and leaders in the mission-driven food and beverage space. So it's a very particular kind of leader we're talking about. It's someone who's passionate. It's someone that is just really driven to make the world a better place. And so we've got a great show lined up for you today. We've got Bob Zender, who I met recently at the Sweets and Snacks show. And we had a great chat and we featured him on a roundup of the show. This episode is brought to you by Firebelly Marketing. At Firebelly, we help mission-based food and beverage brands bring people closer together through social media marketing. So if you're ready to use some social media, create some more community and excitement around your food or beverage brand, go to firebellymarketing.com. So I'm excited to welcome Bob. And what I found already is Bob is incredibly knowledgeable and he's so focused on messaging. And he enjoys a great cup of coffee. And man, he is a kind guy. We had some bumps getting this thing scheduled today, and he has been so kind. Bob, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Duncan. It's awesome to be here. Appreciate your shining the light on our little brand.
Definitely. I mean, hey, listen, I love potato chips and I love potatoes. And shout out to Potatoes USA, the advocacy group for potatoes in general in this country. But I think when I ran into you, when we go to these shows, it's we're looking for cool brands to talk to that maybe have flown under our radar. And you were just incredibly, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll take the blame for flying under the radar. As a marketing manager, I'm trying to get above the radar, if that makes sense. But we definitely have a great story to tell. I mean, our brand has a great sustainability message that needs to be shared. So we're really grateful for your attention to it.
And I'm happy to have met you. So let's dive right in. Let's kind of start differently. You're with Uglies, and it's Uglies Kettle Chips, and you all are an offshoot or a subsidiary of Dieffenbach, which is a major player in the kettle chip space. But before we get into all of that, let's just talk about why you all came into existence. Like why did you all decide to do this brand, and what's the associated kind of problem out there?
That's a great way to start, because it's actually due to the fact that the family business, it's a family owned and operated business. We're in our fourth generation now, American company in Pennsylvania. So we started in 1964 when Mark Dieffenbach, who was a dairy farmer at the time, decided to take his homemade potato chip recipe out of the kitchen and start selling it locally to different shops and grocery stores. He added a cooker to his garage and opened up production and increased production. And then that was such a success. They built on a little factory on the property, converted another building and kept adding on to that. And it's organically grown, no pun intended. The business has grown organically from there since 1964, primarily with the Dieffenbach's brand, but several key retailers and other brands in the country rely on Dieffenbach's as a private label manufacturer. And so as that business grew, the family had been so closely knit with the agricultural community and recognizing the struggles they go through, just becoming increasingly aware of the plight of these farmers who have failed crops and produce that is rejected from retail use or from other chippers because it doesn't meet some sort of a specific dimension or color, just minor imperfections that really have no bearing on the quality of the potato, just the functional use of the potato as it relates to operations that require more uniformity. So these farmers were suffering economic loss as a result of this, and being so close to the agricultural community, the owners said, we can still find a use for these potatoes. And initially, what that was a brand of Dieffenbach's seconds. They called them seconds because they were grayed out potatoes that were not first rate. Yet again, still perfectly delicious and good for a small batch kettle chip processor because we do more hands-on with a handcrafted product like that. So that product line existed for several years, and it was beneficial to the farmers. Obviously, it benefits the environment when you're keeping those potatoes from going to food waste, being plowed under. There's, resources like water and what have you that help to grow those potatoes that have basically gone to waste as well, and the CO2 emissions and whatever that are required to produce those that go to naught. So this really helps the environment. It helps the farmers. And so the company wanted to do more of that. So in 2017, they launched the Uglies brand of kettle chips, which was intended to go beyond our local footprint. And right now it is a national brand. We have lots of gaps across the country. There's a lot of upside potential, but we still have a really good distribution nationally with the help of some key distributors and retailers. So that brand of seconds evolved to the Uglies Kettle Chips brand. The brand then was relaunched in 2021 with the packaging. Actually, the packaging you see behind me, beautiful, colorful, yet paradoxical in a way, because the name Uglies on a package that looks so beautiful is certainly intriguing, if not, mystifying. So people pick up the bag, they flip over the bag, they realize, this company is doing something right for the farmers, helping the farmers, helping the environment. And then we turn around and give 10% of proceeds to feed hungry kids. That 10% of profits actually goes to Viva Kids, which is a company that's based in Pennsylvania, and they're dedicated to reducing childhood hunger across the globe. So that's a really great work that we're able to help fund as a result of this initiative. And the more we can sell nationally, the more farmers we can help, the more we can help the environment, and the more children we can help feed. So it's a win-win-win, and not to mention the fact that it's a really delicious product that everyone loves to have anyway. So might as well help others in the process.
It is a delicious product. I mean, it's funny because I give a shout out to Abby earlier, Abby Thomas, who's in the studio with me. But we brought I offered her a packet at the barbecue yesterday, and she said, "I will not turn that down." And
yeah, the barbecue is certainly a fan favorite. We in 2023 we became the only upcycled certified brand of kettle chips, and so we're proud to put that almost at parity with our brand on our packaging design, right up there on the top line, because that really is kind of where the rubber meets the road for our brand. We are upcycling potatoes as we have always been, but now we're able to actually certify and share that. So that's been big news and a big boost to business since 2023. And yeah, we're continually looking to ways to expand that initiative and help reduce food waste and more farmers and feed more hungry kids.
I mean, it just is mind-boggling to me. I was looking at some of the numbers, and I know you've got the numbers, but we're talking about over 100 billion pounds of food being wasted every year. So what does a percentage work out to? What is that? What percentage of all food consumed? It's like 30 or 40% of all food consumed is or intended for consumption is wasted.
Yeah, 119 billion, I think, is the last number I saw of food that's wasted annually every year, and that's like 40% of all food. That's
and the effed up part about it is that 25% of that is for cosmetic reasons.
Yeah. It's crazy. As a brand, we're doing all we can. We've rescued over 25 million pounds of orphaned potatoes. Orphaned, isn't that cute? but
I
they've
mean,
had a hard knock life, so they are like orphans. You're rejected for their looks. We don't body shame our potatoes.
I mean, let's talk about that because we don't need any body shaming in general, at least potatoes. I mean, especially when you consider the fact that there are so many people all over the globe who don't even have access to, any potato. So I think that's interesting that perfect produce definition. I was looking at that on your website, and I mean, these are just astonishing numbers. And so to our listeners, like, listen to what Bob is talking about because it is just mind-boggling. I'll give a shout out to Caitlin Mogenthal, who is rescuing imperfect vegetables and salads in the LA area and creating chips out of those, like vegetable chips. And then, of course, our good buddy Daniel Kurzrock, who's the founder or the co-founder of the upcycling movement. So that's what this is all called, right? We're calling this as upcycling.
It is a movement. It's the ugly revolution, we're calling it.
Ugly revolution.
Yep. So get on board. Yeah, more stats on that. There's, roughly 2% of the US GDP is waste. For $428 billion worth of food has gone to waste. So that's like 6.1% of the greenhouse gas emissions in the US that could be reduced if you could just get rid of that waste. So we're trying to raise the flag and make sure everyone knows that no potato should go to waste, and nothing should be wasted. If you can avoid throwing something in the garbage just because it's unattractive, not because it's poor quality, but don't body shame your potatoes for sure.
I mean, you must have some fun with this on social because, substance over superficiality, right?
Yeah, yeah,
No potato left behind.
yes, exactly. Yeah, there's lots of fun ways to spin it, but it does prick the conscience of our society because we all know subconsciously that we're guilty of being wasteful. As a first world country in the US, so much is left untapped that we could be sharing with the world.
So, Bob, what about landfill and water? Are those all also impacted by this, preoccupation with perfect produce?
Yeah, well, it does impact that. And landfills, what goes down the drain or left in the fields to rot. It's a shame that so much of that could be benefiting somebody's diet, and you would produce less. You wouldn't have to have as much farmland dedicated to produce if you would use everything that was coming off of the land. So yeah, I think it's like 22% of all fresh water, 16% of all cropland that's producing food that's not actually eaten. So we could do a lot to controlling food waste if we just, not be so critical, have a little more of a forgiving eye.
So I want to bring it back, Bob, to the amazing work that you and Uglies is doing with Viva Kids. Just to put some context around that problem, I know that in this country, it's sometimes hard for some people to understand that not only are there kids across the globe who are not getting enough nourishment, but also in this country, there are a lot of kids that are undernourished.
That's true. Food insecurity is still an issue. But yeah, globally, 20% of the world's children under the age of 5 are considered undernourished. So if we could reduce food waste by 15%, we could feed 25 million more people. It's crazy, how much we could help that we're not lifting a finger to do. So as a brand, as a company, we're donating 10% of profits to this Viva Kids organization that helps to perpetuate that message and get directly involved with programs in different countries to help, meet that need. So yeah, it's an important part of our business, and really kind of the onus, the inspiration for Uglies came about with trying to figure out how we could do more that we've already started doing. The company is very philanthropically oriented as it is, but having a brand succeed and having some profits that we could help direct more, and that 10% is basically the minimum we will give. And I can't get into the actual numbers, but there are every year I've been aware of this donation. It's been well over 10%, and they're doing as much as they can to help give back and reduce that problem.
I mean,
It starts there. I mean, you start when you're hungry, you think of nothing else. And then once you get beyond that, you can think toward, education and different other issues that societies can tackle. But if you're hungry, you can't focus on anything except for surviving at that point.
very, very good point. I mean, I just want to say that it was when I first met you, and it's only continued with how impressed, I've been and our team has been with the unique combination of conscious work towards solving these problems, but also the conscience of the company, the compassion that is involved,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's social justice, and it's really like a preoccupation with the mission, really, that drives you all to do what you do.
Yeah. Well, life is about relationships, in my opinion. And I believe that business is just an organized extension of that philosophy. You have a company of people, you invite company over for dinner, you're in good company. That whole idea of a company to me, to us, is, an extension of that priority of relationships and putting people ahead of, things. And so seeing people succeed, the people we work with, we can improve the lives of our coworkers, improve the lives of the farmers, the communities that we serve, the hungry children across the world. That's what inspires us to continue to do what we do. And we've been loved, we've been blessed, and we're inspired to share those blessings with others.
I mean, that is truly truly remarkable. What's the feedback that you all see, from your customers? I mean, look, I mean, even if you ignored the name, it's beautiful packaging, and you want to pick it up and you want to like bust it open and eat it, right?
Yeah,
So even
for sure.
beyond that, but what do you hear back from your customers? Do they find out about the product because of the mission, or do they find out about the mission because of the product, or both?
I think, well, the footprint of the brand, like I said, has gone relatively national, but it did sort of catch on first in the organic and natural channel, food stores, and primarily West Coast, and which seems to be the way the trends go in the US from left to right. And so we were benefits of the fact that we are non-GMO, project verified, um, gluten-free, um, several vegan recipes, nut-free. So we were getting, and the fact that we were upcycled when we started without the certification, that all resonated with the buyers at those retailers, and consumers pick up on that, and they trusted that what they were being shown in some of those specific banners were things that fit their philosophies as well, or their dietary needs. And so the brand evolved from that, and as more attention was given to those categories or qualifications and certifications, the other retailers picked up on it. Some non-natural organic retailers have recently picked up on it. And honestly, once you taste the product, you realize this is, worth repeating. And so folks get drawn in by the colorful packaging, they're intrigued by the message, and then they do a little trial and they come back for more because it's really great chips. So yeah, it's kind of snowballed for us.
And I'm glad for that. I mean, what the question I was going to ask you is like, what kinds of things, do you hear from your audience? What are some of the kind of feedback you hear?
Yeah, we've definitely had some great reviews. People surprised, they'll open a bag of uglies on a YouTube video and say, well, we'll see what this is all about. And like, wow, these are really good. And then, they rate it high. And Yeah, it's been really good feedback. Folks are loyal fans. We've got folks that just do love anything we do just based on the mission. But then we've got folks who love everything we make based on the taste and the texture and everything that's good about the product itself. And lots of folks who are crossing over to both categories. It is a brand on mission, and the mission is resonating for people who are not even focused on those missions just because it's delicious.
I mean, there might be some people that would say there's no such thing as a bad potato chip, right? Or the same people probably say there's no such thing as bad pizza. But I would suppose there's a lot of really shitty pizza. There's a lot of really shitty potato chips. I mean, how do you screw up a potato chip? I don't know, but boy, there's a lot of people out there that have done it and done it well, or royally, as some might say. But as you said, what are some of the things that go into it? The flavor profile, like knowing what trends to stay on top of or to set. The texture, as you said, is there a crunch coefficient?
Well, there's lots of secrets in the industry. One of the reasons we're so popular on the private label side is because folks recognize that we do something special here. It has to do with your cooking times and thicknesses and the seasonings. We've got several spice companies we work with, and always trying to keep our ear to the ground for the trends. There's a lot of things I can't tell you about, but working on new flavors and forms of Uglies that will continue to build the brand and are excited for the future. There's a lot of upside for us as a company, and a lot of opportunity and room capacity for growth. So as long as we can keep those ugly potatoes coming, we're in good shape.
So I know that if you tell me some of these secrets, you'll have to kill me. So let's not do that. But do you have some things that are coming up that you're excited about and that you can share?
What I can say is that we watch the trends and we see some opportunities. If you look at our product line, we've got 6 flavors of white potato and just 1 flavor of sweet potato. There are some other ways to leverage upcycled potatoes in different forms besides just chipping them. So we're trying to figure that out as we speak, and hoping to have some more news to share at the next NPEW, the National Product Expo West, which is the kind of the big show for our industry. So
that's amazing. We look forward to it. Let me ask you this: with such a, I'm sure, thought-provoking and stimulating work mission for you personally, how do you say what your favorite flavor is? Oh, and what is it?
My favorite flavor is Uglies. Yeah.
Did you know that? That's a great answer.
I do like them all. I do have a penchant for spice, so I really love the buffalo ranch or the
That's
or
awesome.
the jalapeno. They're not overly spicy. They're not the kind of thing where you take one bite and you put the bag down because that's enough. Obviously, you want the whole bag, and I like to joke about our 6-ounce single serve bags because you can eat the whole bag pretty easily once you start.
Oh yeah, I think you had those at the show, at the Sweets and Snacks show when we first met, and yeah, we did we did finish it. That's a dangerous show, by the way.
I know, right?
Because there are so many tantalizing things, and there's so much to try. And
Yeah, I was fortunately nailed to the booth most of the time because if I had been able to walk, I would have been rolling around the aisles with all the snacks.
yield to the booth. My goodness. So I was just saying, so okay, so this must make how do you I mean you obviously you have so many aspects of the brand that you oversee, the actual brand experience, identity, the social, the partnerships, staying on top of all the numbers. How do you take care of Bob?
How do I take care of myself? Or
Yeah.
how do I take care of the needs of? So our brand has a meager budget. We're definitely leveraging social media. There are different ways to get the word out, with influencers or different, reviews platforms. There's digital advertising with different retailers. But yeah, the margins are thin, and we're trying to do all that we can to raise awareness. And we need to probably do a little more investment spending, but trouble is getting to a market ACV where you can afford to do some larger media options as opposed to just a geo-targeted Facebook ad or something like that. So, but yeah, there's definitely a way to get the word out without breaking the bank. So yeah, and as far as taking care of me personally, I'm energized by interactions with people. I'm that type of personality, and
Wow.
I like to think things through. I love the strategic side of the branding. I love the creative side of the branding, and so it doesn't take much to get me going. My family will tell you it's just I'm excitable.
That's awesome. What is other than Uglies? What are some of your other favorite snack items?
Well, personally, I'm a nut freak, so I'll eat peanuts and almonds and anything that's sweet and salty. I'm kind of I was next to I don't know if you recall, but next to the lady, I'm going
Yes,
at the sweets and snacks booth. She hooked me up with
it's Sally's, right?
Sally's nuts. Yes, exactly. She hooked me up with some of those sweet and salty pecans, and then I had to go back and buy more online because I had run out of the sample she gave me. I love that kind of stuff. So,
well, that's amazing. Anything else you want to talk about or that you have coming up in the next few months?
just stay tuned. I mean, there's exciting things going on. Nothing I can share, but I know that you'll be happy with what you get. I'll send you some samples.
So, thank you so much, Bob. This has been a great interview, to hear about the work that you're doing to support, underprivileged, undernourished kids, supporting farmers, helping to reduce food waste and all the associated, nonsense that goes on with wasted water and landfill contribution and greenhouse gases and petroleum, just opportunities. It just is really, I mean, if the product was mediocre and you did all those things, we'd still celebrate you. But doing all those amazing things, as you said, the triple win, and still producing, and on top of it, producing a great product that is tasty and got a great texture. Just thank you so much for making the world a better place.
Well, thanks a lot, Duncan. You're very kind to say that. I appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you at the next show.
Awesome. Thank you, Bob. And
all right, God bless.
Thank you for listening to the Firebelly Social Show, where we focus on mission-driven food and beverage brands. This has been a great show with Bob Zender of Uglies. And so please check them out. Bob, how can they find you?
We are ugliesnacks.com. Also on social at Ugly Snacks. So yeah, awesome. Check us out.
Check it out. Please buy direct if you can from the website or go to the store. So and support this amazing company. And this has been another episode of the Firebelly Social Show, brought to you by Firebelly Marketing. I'm Duncan. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for listening to the Firebelly Social Show. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.